Hey, beautiful. Welcome back to the State of Her, the headquarters for women who are becoming, evolving, healing, growing, and figuring it all out in real time. I'm your host, Keisha, and today I will be talking about you being the problem. Everybody ain't the problem, sis. If it keeps happening, it's not a coincidence, it's a pattern. And you might be the problem. Now what, right? We love to talk about what people did or is doing to us, how they hurt us, how they played us. But today, I am going to flip this one on you guys, okay? Yes, you ladies. Because what if you might be the problem? This is not to shame you, but this is actually to free you. And I'm keeping it real with you right now, 100%. Remember that this podcast is called The State of Her. Real conversations, real growth, right? Now let's get into it, ladies. Y'all ready? Because it's not always them. Sometimes the hardest truth to accept is that you're not just experiencing the same patterns, you're participating in them. Not on purpose, not because you don't know better, but because something in you still feels connected to what you're trying to outgrow. That pattern is comfort for you. And if you're honest with yourself, it's not always them catching you off guard, whether it's a love relationship or a friendship. It's you wanting a different outcome, but your pattern is still the same. The goal isn't just to meet better people, you know what I'm saying? It's to become the version of yourself who no longer feels at home in what once broke you. And when you get there, the pattern doesn't just repeat, it should end. That's it. That's where you need to be. Or you're just going to keep asking yourself, why this keep happening to me? The uncomfortable truth is, ladies, the common denominator, it might just equal out to you. Just keeping it real. If every situation ends the same for you, at some point, you have to look at the source. That source just might be you. And it's okay if the source is you. The key thing is, are you willing to change? That's it. You have to have self awareness. And a lot of us say we want growth, we want better friendships, we want better relationships, a better version of ourselves. But let's be honest, ladies. The second somebody call you out, now that becomes a problem, right? You become defensive, your tone has changed, now you have an attitude. Why? Yeah, I know being called out might feel uncomfortable. Who wants to be called out, right? But do you know that uncomfortable feeling doesn't mean it's wrong? Are you not realizing that you're blocking your own growth because you can't sit in a moment where somebody's holding up a mirror to you? You always needing to be right is not strength, ladies. That's your ego. You become so focused on proving your point that you are missing the entire lesson. You are missing the opportunity for you to say, wait, hold up. Let me check myself real quick. You know what I'm saying? What's going on here? You always needing to be right will have you real lonely all by yourself because nobody wants to communicate with somebody who can't take accountability. Nobody. As soon as your patterns change, trust me, your relationships, they will start to change for the better. Trust me, because I was that woman many, many moons ago at one point that always needed to be right in any situation, right? Always. I was that woman that if you said, Keisha, check yourself, check your attitude, you come off rude most of the times. I'm just thinking back, like I would say, so what? That's just me. That's who I am. But then when I start to see that, my attitude is like starting to affect me and my relationships, guess what, ladies? I had to sit back and analyze myself. Am I that rude? Do I just say anything and don't care how they feel? I thought that was the thing to do. Speak your mind, right? So, yes, ladies, at one point I was very rude. And once I realized this, I had to take accountability on how and what I said to others. I had to, especially in my relationships, you know? Yes, I can be honest and say what I want to say, but guess what? There's a way to say things that when you do say it, it won't come across in a rude, hurtful manner. So, yeah, I still say what I say, but not in a rude manner or tone, you know? It's the tone, it's the delivery that matters. I started to see a change in myself and my relationships. Like the conversations became more conversational rather than combative. And here I am now, many, many moons later, calm and cool and collective like the breeze. So I'm saying that to say, check yourself, ladies, because you can be the problem. Sometimes it's hard to check yourself, you know? I know it is. No one wants to check themselves. No one. But how you can't check yourself, but you can check others, right? So until you do the change on yourself, stop checking others. Seriously, stop checking others. Change yourself first. Now, I'm about to get started on listening because you know the times when you are not listening, the times when you are waiting to respond, you are waiting to cut somebody off in mid sentence. You are waiting to defend yourself, not knowing if you really have to defend yourself in a situation. Meanwhile, the whole message that was said to you just flew right over your head. When you really want silence, I'm sorry, when you really want to listen, right? When you really want to listen, it means you silence your ego and actually hear what's being said to you, even if it doesn't feel good to you. Because growth is not in you proving your point all the time. I used to think that though, but I don't. I changed. No, I have become her. Like I said, like I want you guys to become her. You know, it's not proving your point at all. Because let me tell you something, ladies. I always had to prove my point in every scenario. I was very combative, debating, argumentative all the time, you know? Not because I'm a black woman. No, that's just because that that's who I used to be. Right? And sometimes proving my point wasn't the best thing. It's me being a woman, you know, me being a woman enough to actually say, like, all right, cool. I hear you. I hear what you're saying. Thank you for saying this to me. And just let me sit back with this and work on it. That right there, what I just said, that's power. That's accountability. That's becoming her. And some of y'all ladies, some of y'all don't want clarity. What y'all want is validation. But I'm not validating anything. I'm clarifying right now. Okay. So your habits might be sabotaging you. They just might be. Now, some of us women push away the very people we prayed for, right? You ask for someone patient, right? Someone genuine, someone who knows, someone who can show up for you at all times. And when you actually do get that, you get uncomfortable. You start to question it. You start pulling back. Like, why? I'm going to tell you why. Because it's so unfamiliar to you. That's why. You know that chaos feels more normal than peace to certain people? Again, ladies, patterns. The comfortability of patterns. Those patterns need to be undone, like right now. And it's not even because of what they did, it's because of what somebody else did prior to you. So now instead of you healing that situation, that prior situation, what you would do now is walk into something brand new and already guarded, already side eyeing, and already expecting the worst. You're still continuing your patterns. Now, this new person that's in your life right now, they have to prove something. Prove that they didn't even break you. You know, your trust issues. You overthinking things. You assuming the worst. You reacting instead of actually responding. You reading into text messages. You're replaying conversations in your head. You're creating whole scenarios in your head that didn't even happen, all because you have trust issues. You overthinking be ruining your whole show, y'all. Now you upset over an assumption that you have created in your head. Now your energy is off over something you think is true. So, like, instead of you pausing and analyzing your thought process, and instead of like asking, instead of getting clarity, you first react. Why? You are quick to get emotional and defensive. You know, this is probably the only thing I first mastered many moons ago. I've never interjected my previous relationship problems, situations, or ways into my new relationship. I always gave my new relationship the benefit of the doubt. All because I truly don't like chaos. And until you realize everyone is not the same, you always will live in the past and with some form of chaos. So by you reacting, it will have you ruining everything, like something that requires your patience. You know what I'm saying? You responding, that requires maturity. Responding says, let me slow down. Responding says, let me not punish this person for something they didn't do. Responding says, let me communicate instead of assume. Right? Because you know what, beautiful? The truth is, a lot of good people didn't leave you. You know what happened? Guess what happened? What happened was you pushed them away, trying to protect yourself from something that wasn't even happening. You say you want peace, right? But your habits create chaos. Once again, beautiful, your patterns, your patterns, your accountability. You have to take that. Now, check this out. This right here is the accountability with grace message. All right. I'm not judging you, beautiful, but I'm also not letting you hide either. All right. Don't try to blame everybody. Let's normalize something real quick because this is real. Yes, you can be healing and still be the problem in some situations. Yes, beautiful. Both can exist at the same time. Just because you've been through things and just because you are working on yourself, please don't ever think that you're automatically showing up right in every situation. Because sometimes you're still reacting from those old wounds. You're still moving from hurt, from fear, or your habits that you haven't fully unlearned as of yet. That's what you're doing. And that doesn't make you a bad person, but what it does, it makes you responsible. It makes you it makes you accountable. Healing is not an excuse to avoid accountability. Just remember that. You have to own your part. A lot of women struggle with owning their part. They think that admitting to saying, I was wrong, makes them look weak. Like saying, I was wrong somehow takes away their power. Nope. Owning it, that is your power. For you to be able to say, yes, I see what I did there. Yes, I could have handled that better. Yes, I hurt you and I own that. That's strength, ladies. That's your emotional maturity. That's you, a woman who is actually growing, not just talking about it. Any woman can say they're healing, but can you take accountability while you're healing? That's the real work. Growth starts with honesty, not the pretty version either, not the I'm the victim in every story version either. You know, the real version, the one where you sit with yourself and say, where did I play a part in this? What patterns am I repeating that I need to get rid of? What is it that I need to change in me? Ask yourself those questions. I've asked myself those questions all the time, even to this day. Because until you're honest with yourself, you keep running into the same situations over and over and over again, but just with different people. You're not a bad person, beautiful. You just have bad patterns and fix them, okay? Now let's shift this real quick. Before we even react to anything, before you even send that text message, before you pop off or shut down or even assume the worst for it all, just pause real quick. Pause for a second, beautiful. Because not every feeling that you encounter needs an immediate reaction. Some of your feelings need to be processed first. And that pause, you processing, that's where your power is. That's the difference between repeating the same patterns and actually breaking them. And in that pause, start asking yourself something, okay? Ask yourself something that most women avoid at times. Ask yourself, what role did I play in this? This is not to blame yourself. This is to understand yourself. It's easy to point fingers, right? It's easy to say, they did this, they said that about me or to me. But growth, your growth says, okay, but what did I do? How did I show up in this situation? What patterns am I repeating? So just asking yourself that question will alone, okay, change your life. If you're honest with your answer, all right? Honest with yourself, okay? Now let's be real. This kind of awareness doesn't just happen overnight now. It all takes time. This is where the real work comes in. And whether it's therapy, journaling, or reflection, sitting with yourself, writing things out, talking to someone who can challenge you, not just agree with you. Your thoughts need to be unpacked, not just felt, beautiful. Journaling helps you see your patterns, write them down. Reflection helps you understand what triggers you, reflect on them. Therapy, therapy helps you heal what you keep trying to manage on your own. Sometimes we just need a little help, beautiful. That's it. All of this, it leads to one big decision you have to make over and over and over again. Growth or ego. Because your ego will have you defending your behavior that's not serving you at all. Your ego, your ego, it will have you stuck. Your ego will have you repeating cycles over and over. Your ego will have you losing good people and calling it, this is just how I am. That's a bad decision, though. It is. Growth says, I'm willing to look at myself, right? Even when it's uncomfortable, growth says, I don't want to keep being this version of me, right? Growth says, I choose better, even if it's hard. The moment you stop blaming everything on someone else is the moment your life starts changing, beautiful. Accountability is not an attack on you. It's an opportunity for you to change for the better and undo those patterns. Take a moment to pause, reflect, and really ask yourself, beautiful, what role did I play? And what can I do differently moving forward? Because this journey, it's not about being perfect. It's about being honest and choosing growth over ego every single time. And listen, beautiful, you don't have it all figured out right now. That's okay. You just have to be willing to do the work. This is your reminder that you are allowed to evolve. You are allowed to unlearn. And you are allowed to become a version of yourself that feels more aligned, more peaceful, and more what? Yeah, more you. Thank you for being here with me at the State of Her headquarters, where we have real conversations for real growth. If this episode resonated with you, please share it with another woman who needs it. New episodes drop every Wednesday on iHeart or on your favorite podcast platform. Make sure you follow at the States of Her HQ. And I'll talk to you next time, beautiful.